welcome and congratulations, you made it past the halfway mark. So today, to celebrate this awesome accomplishment, we're going to tackle a really fun pose, crow pose. Crow pose is an arm balance, but don't let the name deceive you. While we will tone and strengthen our upper body, we are really going to dig deep into the core. As you know, those are the muscles that you absolutely need no matter what kind of physical practice you're doing, and these muscles help contribute to your weight loss goals. So remember that the prize isn't nailing the crow pose on the first try. Instead, you will find the most benefit out of doing the drills that I'm going to offer to you in this video to tone and strengthen your muscles, and you'll be well on your way to learning not only this arm balance, but arm balances in the future. So we're going to get started on our backs today. Come on down. And to start, we're going to take a shape that's very similar to crow pose. It's just a lot more ease. Draw your knees towards your armpits. Take your hands either to your ankles and your feet, so kind of like a happy baby, but instead of bringing your feet wide, draw the soles of your feet towards one another. I call this floating butterfly. So depending on the mobility of your hips, your knees might be very wide or your heels might be way far up. It doesn't really matter. What you're trying to do is find a little bit of a stretch here. So just go to where your body is comfortable and breathe. One way that I try to take on new poses is I will see the shape of the pose and then I ask myself, well, what other postures that I know look like it? And so that way we can start to build our body towards a challenging pose by utilizing the muscle memory we already have from our previous practices. Take another breath in and a big breath out. By doing that, just draw your knees to your chest. By doing that, we're going to remind ourselves that we've already done all of this work up to this point, so you can feel really confident that nothing is out of reach for you. Everything is possible with time and commitment. Take your right thigh over your left thigh. Either squeeze the thighs together or bind your right ankle underneath your left ankle for eagle legs. And then do the same with the arms. Eagle the arms. If for any reason using eagle arms is too straining on your neck, you can take your hands to your ears. We're going to start with core today. Lift your shoulder blades off the mat. On your inhale, send your elbows and knees far away. On your exhale, crow crunches, draw in. Lengthen and hug. Get long, hug it in. Continue to squeeze the midline of the body even as you're lengthening, and hug the belly button down and draw the shoulder blades up off the mat as you contract. It can be helpful to link the breath to the movement here. So inhales are long, exhales are big contraction in the belly. Build some belly fire. You're here for 4, 3, 2, hold up on 1, squeeze and hold, and release. Stamp the feet down and just windshield wiper them side to side. Great. Let's do the other side. Left thigh over your right, left arm under your right, eagle up. Lengthen on your inhale. On your exhale, lift your shoulder blades and hug the belly button down. Inhale everything long. Exhale, contract. Draw your front ribs in. Lengthen and squeeze. I like to think of my midline like a yo-yo. On the inhale, I'm sending the yo-yo away. On the exhale, I'm drawing it back in. Like you had a string going through the middle of your body, and you could breathe it long and exhale it tight. You're here for 4, belly fire, 3, 2, last one, and release. Unwind and shake the knees side to side. Great. So another abdominal exercise that'll help us build our strength for crow are crow crunches. So taking this idea of finding crow shapes in different arrangements on our yoga mat. This time, draw your hands to your ears and take crow legs in your body. So either feet more like happy baby, or your heels can touch if that feels more comfortable in your body. Lengthen your spine and press the back of your skull down for your big inhale. On your exhale, lift your shoulder blades off the mat and then bring your knees to touch your elbows. Good. Inhale long. Exhale, lift the shoulder blades and draw the knees in. So it's important that you're using your upper body and your lower body here. Draw your shoulder blades up off the mat every exhale. Continue to breathe and move. You're here for 4, 3, 2, hold up on 1, hold isometric hold, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice job. Feet down, rock your knees side to side. I can already feel my midsection is super duper warm. This is good news, especially if you do have a weight loss goal or you're trying to increase your capacity for harder, more complex poses. You're building all the strength you need. Draw your knees to your chest, then grab behind your thighs and pull yourself up to a little docked boat. So we're going to start with our heels down, knees together, and then lift the spine really tall. Reach your fingers forward. This core strength that you're feeling is essential for your crow. So like I said before, arm balance is a little bit of a deceiving name because it's a lot about your core and your inner thighs, not just your arms. But while we're here in our docked boat, let's try on a shoulder position that's going to optimize the arm bone into the shoulder socket so you feel really strong. So lengthen your spine and then reach your arms forward. You'll notice your chest will cave in a little bit. Then press the palms towards one another and back the arm bones into the shoulder socket. From there, broaden the chest. So you'll notice my arm bone's not too far back, my shoulder blades aren't winging out, but I'm not collapsed in the chest either. So you're broad in both the upper back and in the chest. Take one more inhale. That was a long boat hold. And then lower to low boat. Elevate the legs. Reach to the toes. 4, 3, 2. All the way down. 1. Nice job. Shake it side to side. So that's it for our belly up core work. Let's come to a downward facing dog and continue. So draw your knees to your chest. Rock yourself up to a tabletop and press back to downward facing dog. Pedal out your legs a little bit. So as you pedal out your legs, notice if one hip feels sticky or tight. We give a lot of emphasis to core and abdominal strength for our arm balances. But for crow in particular, you also have to have a decent range of motion in your hips. So working into the hips is really helpful for this posture as well. Take 1 or 2 more breaths. And then come into stillness. So from downward facing dog, we'll continue to amp up our core as well as get into our hips by taking some spinal waves or some long lengthening core work from down dog to plank. So bend your knees and load the chest back towards the thighs. Draw the belly button in and tip the pubic bone up towards the belly button. From there, soften the elbows a little bit so you're more liquid in the joints, and then push yourself forward, lift from the back of the heart, and then broaden the collarbones, plank pose. Take a full inhale, and then soften the knees, shift back, downward facing dog. So we'll take that more fluid, smoothing out the edges of the transitions from down dog to plank. Here we go. Bend the knees, wave forward, broaden the collarbones, soften the knees, shift back. 2 more times. Wave forward, broaden the collarbones, soften the knees, shift back. Last time, wave forward, broaden your collarbones, soften the knees, shift back to downward facing dog. Nice work. Step the seams of the feet together, and let's move on. Reach your right leg high, stack the hips, bend the knee, but press through both hands evenly. So working some range into each of your hips, as well as toning and strengthening the arms. One more breath in. Good. On your breath out, we'll come into lizard pose. So bring your right foot to the outside of your right hand and come onto your finger pads. Strengthen your back leg, press into the finger pads, and then drag the chest forward. So not only are you opening up your hip here, you're also practicing a nice stable shoulder. Draw the belly in, keep the heart lifted. Hug your right sit bone back to your back heel. Take one more breath. Good. Plant your hands, and then as light as you can, as quiet as you can, lift the front foot up, step it back to dog. So our ability to kind of move like a ninja comes from our core, and it's clunky at first. That's totally fine, but the more we practice, the more light and agile we'll feel. Good. Lift your left leg, roll the hips to stack, bend the knee, press into both hands evenly and level out the armpits. So this is essential so that you're not dumping too much into one shoulder. You want to be nice and stable through the hands. Lift the knee a little higher. Great. One more breath in. And a lizard pose, breath out. Bring the left foot to the outside of the left hand. Pop up onto your finger pads. So as you strengthen the back leg, drag isometrically the fingers back and broaden the collarbones. Notice if you're just winging the shoulder blades. If that's happening, I want you to press down a little bit more and then broaden the collarbones. Good. Continue to hug the low belly. Stamp through the front heel and drag the front sit bone back. So a nice stretch for the IT band and getting into the deep hip rotator muscles that we need turned on for our arm balance challenge. One more breath in. On breath out, plant the hands, and then as light as you can, pick up the foot and place it down. Nice work. Pedal out the legs. Good. Then gaze up to your hands. Come to a forward fold with your feet wide. So your toes will go behind your wrists, bend into your knees, drop the belly, and relax your head down. Give your body a couple moments to just feel the weight shift from the ball mounds of the feet into the heels. Already getting a little more familiar with this idea of rocking back and forth, which you will need as we go up to crow. You have to be able to rock and shift your weight forward into your hands. So while you're here in this forward fold, palm the ground, press each and every one of your finger pads down. Seal the perimeter of your palms like you had little suction cups in the palms. And practice what it feels like to shift some weight forward into the hands. Good. On your next exhale, we'll come into a squat. Turn the toes out, heels in. So for a lot of us, sitting down into the squat can be pretty intense for the hips. So if that's you, you can come to more of a catcher stance in baseball, or more like a lineman, right, if you're playing football. And that might feel a little more relieving for the ankles and the hips. But if you have the mobility, then sink on down, draw the belly in, and lift your chest up. We'll do a little drill from this shape that I like to call frog squats because you look like a frog. And what they do is they help you tone the inner thighs and find pelvic floor lift. And who doesn't want toned inner thighs? And last time I checked, everybody wants a strong pelvic floor. So this is really good for you, all right? They might feel a little bit new, so take them at your own pace. Fingertips down, slide your heels together, and then spike your heels up. So because there's weight in your hands, you're not putting a lot of pressure in the knees, all right? It's okay to have the heels up. So the butt goes to the ceiling just a little bit, and play with your weight into your finger pads. Good. On your inhale, drop the seat, but lift your heart. On your exhale, squeeze the inner thighs and lift your seat to the ceiling. Good. Inhale, lower. Exhale, draw everything up. Inhale, lower. Exhale, everything up. Inhale, lower. Exhale, everything up. One more time, lower. Feel your inner thighs squeeze up. Great. And then come back into your yogi squat. So all of those muscles that we just worked, the inner thighs, the pelvic floor, the abdominal muscles, as well as stable shoulders, are essential as we go up into our crow. And at any point, you can find the pose that is your edge today. Stop there and work on it, and know that you can always progress to another level a different time. You can watch this video as many times as you need to start feeling really comfortable in this shape. So to begin, take a tabletop, press into your hands and dome your upper back. So we're just setting some crow shoulders. From there, squeeze the thumbs towards one another. Then draw the arm bones back into the shoulder sockets. Last, broaden the chest. So you'll notice that my shoulder looks really stable. It's not too far away, but my shoulder blade isn't winging up. So you want that suction of the arm bone into the shoulder socket. Lots of muscular strength. From there, you should easily be able to bend the elbows back without feeling like you're moving the head of the arm bone out of your shoulder socket. Then, come back into that little squat with your butt really high, and if it feels comfortable for your knees, spike your heels. Then from those set shoulders that are stable, strong, but not rigid, bend the elbows a little bit and bring your knees to your outer upper arms. Just get comfortable with this shape. So this is a grounded crow. Drag the belly in and shift some weight forward, shift some weight back, shift some weight forward, shift some weight back. If that's feeling comfortable, we can start by lifting a toe. Bring your knees to your outer upper arms, shift weight into your finger pads and gaze forward. Then curl one heel at a time in towards your butt. Switching, noticing if all of your weight dumps to one side or the other as soon as you lift a foot up. We want the weight moving towards their hands, and then sit back down. Great, so if you want to work with that, that's an awesome place to be as well. If you're ready to fly, bring your heels together, plant your hands, spike your heels and bend your knees. Draw your knees to your outer upper arms, hug your inner thighs towards one another, but broaden your chest as you rock forward, touch the heels together, and then drag your feet towards your seat. Gaze way far forward and you're flying. Use your fingertips like brakes, so press into the ground. One more inhale. Exhale, feet down, hips down. Lots of work. Roll your wrists in circles. Great job. Shift back to child's pose and massage your third eye right there on the yoga mat. So just a little bit of arm balance, and I already noticed that my heart rate went way up. My body got really excited about it. This is my opportunity to practice stress response and recalibrating my nervous system. So at home, make sure you're taking deep breaths. Our body doesn't get strong from the pose itself. Our body gets strong from the process we take to learn the pose and the commitment we make to show up to our mat day in and day out. So really, the prize is in the process. One more in and out breath. Good. We'll come down to our back. So flip over and come on down. And as you recline down, stamp your feet about hips width distance. So 1, of many of the muscles that you work in crow, but one of the really important ones are your hip flexors, and so we're just going to give them a nice big release. So stamp down through your feet, lift your hips up. It should feel really good in the front of your hips. You probably also feel your entire torso stretch on your front line. If your shoulders would like, you can always scoot the shoulder blades together and bind your hands underneath your seat. But if that's too intense for you, or lifting higher causes pain in the low back, you can always take a more moderate version of this bridge. One more breath in. Great breath out. And we'll take a variation of supine twist to close practice. Feet will stay hips width distance, and just shift both of your knees to the right. So you're getting double duty here. You're getting a gentle twist for the spine. It's not very deep, but it's gentle, as well as a pretty deep hip opening for the top leg. Good. So important to stretch out the muscles after you work them hard. It's really important to build muscle tone, especially on your weight loss journey. But if you keep the muscles all cramped and tense, you will feel more pain after your exercise, and that's not what we want. So give your body what it needs, a nice juicy stretch. Switch to the other side. And the way to separate your yoga practice from just doing, gymnastics or calisthenics is that we really take that mindful approach here. Notice what your body is communicating to you. Observe your breath. Even in challenging poses like crow, you can find a meditative quality. Perhaps the meditation is simply sticking with it, committing, not letting your brain talk you out of it. You did a great job. So come to the middle, knees to chest, forehead to knees, big breath. And Shavasana, well earned, very much deserved. Just spread out on your mat, get your body nice and comfortable. The toes can flop out in any direction. And just a few deep breaths. You can even take the soles of your feet together and your knees wide if you need more hip flexor opening and inner thigh opening. The breath is slow and steady. Mind is clear. Spirit is light and joyful. One more. This time, let it be an open mouth sigh. Great. Gently draw the knees in and roll to your side. Come on up to a seat. Bring your hands to your heart. Well, great job. I'm so glad that you took on this challenge of crow. And again, congratulations for being at this awesome halfway mark. Be sure to commit to the rest of this course. You're not just committing to your practice, you're committing to yourself. I can't wait to see you in the next video. Until then, namaste. Today's bonus video includes special stretches you can do at your desk.